In this video, I'm going to talk about success and failure, what those terms really mean, how to measure them, and how to change what you're doing in your life in regards to success and failure. So how to change what you're doing in your life with regards to success and failure. And for me, growing up in the US, I was affected by growing up there, and I took on the meanings of success and failure that the culture gives out, which is basically has to do with how much money you make, right? How much money you make, also status and fame, right? Where you rank maybe in your industry, in your company, in your town or city, and how much money you make, how powerful your position is. Fame, of course, and fame has become much more of a factor in success now with social media, right? Before social media, fame was very meaningful, but there were way less people that were famous. It was just movies, TV, athlete, etc. And now with social media, there's way more people that are famous, right? And to varying levels, whether that's worldwide, smaller audience, but nevertheless, we have fame, and it's measured by followers, subscribers, likes, views, etc. And now that is a major part of calling someone a success or failures is those numbers, how many viewers or subscribers or followers they have. So but we're still measuring success and failure based on numbers to a large degree. Numbers of dollars, numbers of followers, etc. And this is extremely detrimental to people's emotional, mental health, but also to the society, to the creativity and productivity of society. In other words, what people are choosing to create and how they are going about it, because their metrics for success have to do with how much money it makes, or will it get likes and followers and views. And so this creates this culture and this lifestyle where our motivations don't actually have to do with creating something great. In other words, people don't care so much about how great the thing is. In other words, if they create a video, for example, making one right now, they don't care so much about how great it is on its own as a piece of art or a piece of entertainment or a piece of education, whatever kind of video it is. It's really just creating it so that the algorithm likes it, so that it pushes it on YouTube or wherever you're posting it. And so we're now creating for an algorithm. We're creating so that it will boost us and show us more and get us more of what we're after, how we're measuring success, which is likes and views and followers. And this, if you now look at the effect that this has had, now that we've had social media for as long as we've had, whatever it is, 20 years now, and with now video being so pervasive on every platform for a lot of years, look at what are the most popular videos and kinds of content. And does that represent great art to you? In other words, that's the most popular art in the world, right? The most popular, most biggest artist in the world is Mr. Beast, the YouTuber. And without taking away anything from what he does and what he's accomplished, because it's an incredible achievement, what he's done. And I think the videos, for what they are very entertaining, and no reason people shouldn't enjoy watching them. However, that being the biggest artist in the world tells you something, because if you ask, Mr. Beast has been asked, what are you? Like, what do you call yourself? Are you a YouTuber? Are you a studio head? Because he's got his own studio. What are you? And he says, I'm a data junkie. He just studies the data, he studies the algorithm, figures out how to maximize his reach on YouTube and views. And so, in other words, the videos, the art he's making is for the algorithm. And he is making it the things the algorithm loves the most. But that's the art. You see what I'm saying? Like, the best art that we have, or the best, but most popular art that we have, is for an algorithm, not for humans. And if you watch it, it's designed to continuously stimulate your dopamine and hold your attention so that you watch the whole thing. So it's moving super fast. It's throwing a lot of things at you. It's extreme, what the video is about, and a spectacle so that you keep watching, which is all good and fine, but it doesn't have any deep resonance. It doesn't connect on a deep human emotional level, and something that affects you after you watch it. In other words, once you come down from that little dopamine high, you basically just want more, and so you watch more, and that's why you're so successful. But it doesn't get you to think about your life, or think about who you are as a human, or how you relate to other humans, or just sit with it for a while and feel it and remember it as an experience. You forget it after you've watched it. It doesn't stay with you like a great movie or a great novel does, right? Or a great painting, great piece of art. And this is what is getting lost in this age in terms of the culture, right? Is that everything is not being created so that it actually is meaningful to humans. It's just created to catch their attention, hold their attention, and get them to spend money. And getting back to the money part of it and making money, and the video is about success and failure. And now success is not about creating something that really is meaningful to humans, the whole Mr. Beast example. It's about getting these numbers, right? Whether it's views, followers, money. And then also, on the other side, people are doing jobs and determining their success, whether how much money they make. But what they're doing doesn't necessarily benefit humanity. Look at the entire financial industry almost, right? And it's a big industry. There's a lot of different parts of it. So don't want to hit everyone. But a huge part of that industry is just about making money for themselves, and it's not about benefiting humans or humanity. It's just about moving money around so that they can take a portion of it. That's a big part of the finance industry. A lot of people, and a lot of super smart people in that industry, that could be creating great things for humanity. And it's not just about art. I'm an artist. I'm a writer, director. So I may talk more about that because I'm more into it. But it's also about science. It's also about science is not a sexy industry, and often is not high paying, depending on what part of it, of course. But a lot of these super smart minds that are going into finance because they can make more money, if they were going into science, we'd probably all have robot butlers by now, because basically there's just way less smart people going to science because there's less money in it often than in finance or law. The law industry, another industry where a bunch of super smart people are doing it just to make money, and they're not benefiting humanity. Again, not all lawyers. Some are doing good, but most of them are figuring out how to persuade and argue or negotiate just to make more money. And it's just about making more money, and it's not about helping humanity or making the world a better place in some way. And those people are called successful. And then on the other hand, you have, whether it's struggling artists who are not making a lot of money because they're not creating for an algorithm or something super commercial, but they're making meaningful pieces. Or another big one is teachers. And I was a teacher when I was younger, briefly, for a few years. And that's another place where they're not considered successful people, right? They don't rank with the finance people or the lawyers. They don't get paid barely anything. They can barely survive. Yet, what they are doing is helping humanity. They're helping other humans, right? Now, this video is not about the whole education system and like what is being taught, and I certainly have opinions about that, having been a teacher and a student, and obviously all of you have been at least a student. Yeah, maybe what is being taught is not always great, but just the profession that the teachers are there to teach kids and help them to become more successful adults. That's the goal, at least, of the teachers. The system maybe isn't set up for that. Again, topic for a separate video. But the teachers that do a job they're doing is to help kids, help humans, help the culture, the society, and they don't get paid shit. And they also get treated very poorly. And like now they're getting treated even worse by not just the schools, but the parents, the US at least. And it's like, they get no rewards almost, yet they are giving, they are doing something for humanity. And this is where I'm getting to with this video, is about, okay, but what is success and failure? And is the current way that it's judged correct? And should you be judging not just other people like teachers versus lawyers and what have you, but yourself and your own life, judging as a success or failure based on these metrics? Because right now you probably do have an idea. I'm guessing that if you're watching this, that most of you are thinking you're not a success because you're not making enough money, or you don't have your own business, or you're not in charge, or if you're a content creator, you don't have enough, followers or whatever, so you're not a success. And this is, success and failure are essentially fake. The concept is they're made up in our heads. And so I would bet if I asked you, okay, at what point would you consider yourself a success? Like, exactly what's the point? In other words, how do you measure it? When you're a success? I would guess that your answer will be vague. Most people's answers can be vague. It's like, I have enough money, I have a house, I pay my bills, I have a good car, I can pay for my kids to go to college, or I'm a big YouTuber or a big whatever the thing is. But I would guess that it's fairly vague. It's not, okay, I'm doing this, I'm making this much money, this is what I do every day, this is when I'm a success. And basically that perpetuates, because basically you never feel like a success. Essentially, you're always feeling like a failure because you don't really have a clear idea of what a success is. And so even when you get there, you then move the goalposts, as they say. It's then, oh, now I'll get here. Okay, and I got this much money, but I could still make more, so then I'll be a success. And the goalpost keeps moving, the definition keeps moving, and you end up feeling bad about yourself basically all the time and judging yourself as a failure. And this is something that I certainly have done my whole life, is consider myself a failure, because I was always I always had some idea of success that I was not at yet. And I have to work my way to that. And then I'll be a success. But I've been operating in this failure mode. In other words, I'm considering myself a failure, which then if you consider yourself something and you see yourself, then that's how you behave. And that's how the world sees you, right? That's how everyone else sees you. If you're seeing yourself in a certain way and behaving that way. So in other words, it perpetuates, and you're more likely to continue to be a failure. And again, what that means is unclear, but you're going to continue to perpetuate, and this style of being in this life will continue to reflect how you see yourself. So if you're thinking you're a failure, then you can continue to be one, whatever your definition of it is, like whatever you're thinking of yourself is not achieving, and you continue to not achieve that. And I'll give my personal example just to wrap up the video, because I think you get the point that I'm making. But I was pursuing, for over a decade, I was pursuing becoming a Hollywood filmmaker, screenwriter, and director. And that's what I was doing. I was pursuing, and then I finally made my first movie. I wrote and directed a movie, came out in 2019 on Amazon Prime and Apple TV, won Best Comedy Movie at a couple film festivals, and a lot of people watched it on Amazon. But I didn't make millions of dollars. It didn't win an Oscar. There were no big movie stars in it, and it wasn't it wasn't written about in any kind of The Hollywood Reporter or something like that. It wasn't like a big splash. I didn't all of a sudden have Brad Pitt or whoever calling me, hey, I want to work with you, right? It wasn't like any kind of massive hit or movie. And I judged it as a failure at the time. And this is something I worked on for years. I wrote the script, I directed it, I was one of the producers. And so something I worked super hard and put my heart and soul, and I did it, and I made a movie, which very few people have done. And then to get into film festivals, to win Best Comedy Movie at a couple of them, and then to get on Amazon Prime and Apple TV and have hundreds of thousands of people watch it. And yet I still deemed it a failure because my metrics of success that I was using was I get hired by Disney or Warner Brothers or something to direct the next big movie. That was like, or making a ton of money from this movie, or both, really, is what I wanted. So because I was using that metric of success, I deemed the whole thing a failure, which I can see now was like kind of ridiculous and not to mention detrimental to my own emotional and mental well-being. But I deemed the failure, I deemed myself failure. And so it continued. But really, I can look at it now, we can look at it another way and say that was a success, right? I made the movie, I finished it, it won awards at festivals, got seen by hundreds of thousands of people. Pretty good for a movie that has no big stars. So when people are on Amazon or whatever, the fact that they're watching the whole thing, which then means the algorithm shows it to other people. I know, again, mentioning the algorithm, this time in a somewhat positive light. That is a sign that people like the movie, is what I'm saying. And so isn't that a success to make a movie that people like and are watching, right? And hundreds of thousands, that's not nobody. It's not millions, but it's a decent amount. But yeah, so now I can look at it and see, okay, and it was my first movie, and okay, so that is a success. And the point of, to wrap up here, these concepts of success and failure, right, they're so arbitrary, right? There is no definition that the whole world agrees on. And to judge yourself based on these numbers of money or views, followers, is dumb, basically, because you're always going to be a failure and you're always going to feel bad and you're not going to really enjoy the successes that you have. Like that, like me, making the movie and then going to festivals and like being in an audience full of people watching the movie and laughing at, all the funny parts as a comedy. That I wish I could go back. I wish I could go back and enjoy that, because that was awesome. To make the movie and then have an audience of people laughing at it and really enjoying it, and people were even crying during the emotional parts. I wish I could go back and enjoy that and see it as a success that it was. But I can't. So I can only, enjoy it in my memory now. But if you're watching this, start to pay attention more to what you're doing and how it's affecting other people. And when it's positive, that is a success. To have a positive effect on someone else, that is a success, even if it's just a compliment that brightens their day or something you made that someone likes art or video or picture, whatever it is, or anything, a joke, you make someone laugh, that is a success. And start to tally these as successes, start to record these in your mind as successes, and start to see yourself on that scale of success. If you start to tally these things as successes, you start to see, oh, I'm having a lot of success. I am a success. It's not about these numbers. It's all made up. It's about benefiting, having a positive impact on other people's lives. That is a success. And if you do that consistently, you are a success.